A black woman driving a $70,000 Mercedes at midnight? Stolen vehicle. Has to be. Officer Blake Horton snatches the registration from Sarah Nelson's hand, doesn't read it, crumples it, throws it onto the shoulder of Interstate 85. Out of the vehicle, hands up. She complies. Slow movements, palms raised, everything by the book. He grabs her shoulder, slams her against the car door. The impact echoes. Her coat tears on the door handle. This car doesn't belong to you. His breath hot on her neck. This is a mistake, she says quietly. Sure it is, sweetheart. He wrenches her arm behind her back. The cuffs bite down, too tight, metal cutting skin. They all say that. He laughs. His partner laughs. She doesn't resist, doesn't argue. Tomorrow morning he'll see black robes. His knees will buckle. She states it clearly, calmly, like she's done this 1,000 times before. Officer, this is my vehicle. The registration is valid. I'm Judge Sarah Nelson, Fulton County Circuit Court. You can verify my identity through dispatch. Horton actually laughs, not a chuckle, a full laugh, like she just told him the funniest joke he's heard all week. Real creative, he says, shaking his head. I'll give you that. Judge, that's a new one. A second patrol car pulls up, lights flashing, no siren. Sergeant Linda Webb steps out, mid-40s, 20 years on the force. She surveys the scene with practiced eyes, takes in the Mercedes, takes in Sarah, the expensive coat, the educated diction, the complete lack of panic. Webb walks over to Horton. Her boots crunch on the gravel shoulder. You sure about this one? She asks, low voice. Thinks Sarah can't hear. I'm sure, Horton says. Trust me. Webb nods slowly. Buy the book then. Document everything. Translation clear. Cover your ass. Make it stick. Sarah watches this exchange, files it away. These two have done this before. They have a system. May I call my husband? Sarah asks. Measured tone. Not pleading, just asking. He's an attorney. You'll get your phone call at the station, Horton says. Like everyone else. 15 feet behind them, a third officer stands next to his patrol car. Officer Tyler Brooks, 26 years old. 8 months out of the academy. His dash cam is running. Has been running since he arrived on scene 3 minutes ago. He says nothing, doesn't move, just stands there with his hand resting on his belt, his face unreadable in the darkness, but his silence is loud, deafening almost. Sarah notices him, makes brief eye contact. He looks away quickly, too quickly. She knows that look, seen it before, moral discomfort. The kind that comes when you know something's wrong but don't know how to stop it. Webb approaches Sarah now, shines her flashlight directly in her face, studying her. Ma'am, we're going to need you to come with us to the station. You can sort all this out there. Sort what out? Sarah asks. The car is registered to me. The documents are valid. What am I being charged with? Suspicion of operating a stolen vehicle, Horton says. Too confident, too certain. And we'll add false impersonation of a public official while we're at it. He's building a case, right here, right now, making it bigger than it needs to be. Sarah stops arguing. No point. Not here, not now. Not with 3 officers and highway traffic rushing past at 70 miles per hour. She'll let the morning speak for her. Horton returns to his patrol car, slides into the driver's seat, punches Sarah's information into the computer. License number, registration, vehicle identification number. He waits, taps his fingers on the steering wheel. Impatient. The radio crackles to life. Unit 52, this is dispatch. Female voice, neutral, professional. Vehicle Georgia registration Charlie Mike 5543 comes back valid to owner Sarah Nelson, Buckhead address. Clean record. No warrants, no stolen vehicle report on file. You're clear to proceed. Horton stares at the screen. The information doesn't match what he expected, what he was certain he'd find. Webb appears at his window, leans down. What'd it come back? Clean, Horton says. But something's still off. Webb nods slowly. Trust your instincts. If it feels wrong, document it. Process her. We'll sort it at the station. In the back of Horton's patrol car, Sarah sits behind the partition, hands cuffed behind her back, uncomfortable. The plastic seat cold through her coat. She heard the entire radio exchange, every word. Crystal clear. They know the car isn't stolen. Dispatch just confirmed it. But they're continuing anyway. Her jaw tightens. She's not afraid anymore. She's calculating, planning, thinking 3 moves ahead. Horton exits his vehicle, Walks to the Mercedes with his flashlight, opens the passenger door. Inventory search, legal gray area. But he's doing it anyway. He finds her briefcase on the passenger seat. Leather, expensive, embossed initials on the front. SN, he opens it. Court documents, case files, business cards with her name. Letterhead from Fulton County Superior Court. Everything official, everything real. He flips through the papers quickly, sees a case number on one file tab. State v. Horton. His brain doesn't register it. Horton is a common name. Could be anyone. His ego won't let him see what's right in front of him. Webb walks up to the passenger window. Anything? Horton holds up one of Sarah's business cards. She's got fake judge credentials, professional job, good quality. Webb examines the card, feels the paper between her fingers, reads the embossed seal. Book her for false impersonation too, Webb says. Public official impersonation. That's a felony. Sarah's voice comes through the partition. Controlled fury now, leaking through her professional composure. Officer Horton, I strongly advise you to verify my identity through the courthouse before you proceed further. This will not end the way you think it will. Horton slams the briefcase shut, returns to the driver's seat. They all try this, he says to Webb. High-end car, fake credentials, probably got a lawyer boyfriend feeding her lines. Webb nods. Just make sure your report is airtight. Behind them, Officer Brooks shifts his weight, foot to foot. He clears his throat once. Nervous energy, moral discomfort manifesting physically. His dash cam is still recording, has been recording everything, every word, every movement, every violation. Sarah sees him in the side mirror, notices his body language, the way he stands apart from the other two, not participating, not stopping it either, but witnessing. She files that away too. Horton starts the engine, pulls onto Interstate 85, heading toward the precinct. Webb follows in her patrol car. Brooks brings up the rear. A convoy of 3 vehicles, lights flashing, no sirens. The 15-minute drive passes in silence. Sarah doesn't speak, doesn't demand her rights, doesn't threaten lawsuits. She's playing a longer game than that. She closes her eyes, not sleeping, thinking. Every lawyer instinct activated, every strategic calculation running. She knows arguing now is futile, won't change anything, might make it worse. So she waits, conserves her energy, prepares for the real battle, the one that comes in the morning. They arrive at the precinct. Horton parks in the sally port. Webb pulls in beside him. Brooks parks last, still silent, still witnessing everything. Inside, Lieutenant Greg Dresden sits at the booking desk. 51 years old, watch commander for the night shift. He's processing paperwork, multitasking. Doesn't look up when they enter. You ran her info through the system? Dresden asks. Routine question, asked by rote. Clean record, Horton says. But the vehicle profile fits the pattern we've been seeing. Luxury car, late night, nervous behavior. Dresden signs the form, doesn't read it, doesn't review the details, just signs and slides it back across the desk. Book her, process, let day shift sort it out. That's it. That's simple. One signature, no questions asked, no verification attempted. Sarah is fingerprinted, photographed, property inventoried. Her phone, her purse, her keys, her dignity. All placed in a manila envelope. They lead her to a holding cell, small, concrete, one metal bench, one other occupant. A woman, drunk and disorderly, asleep on the bench, snoring. Sarah sits on the opposite end, still wearing her $800 coat, still composed, still thinking. The holding cell door closes, metal on metal. The sound echoes down the corridor. She doesn't flinch. They allow her one phone call, standard procedure. She dials from the wall phone in the corridor, officer supervising, making sure she doesn't say anything problematic. Her husband answers on the second ring. Ethan Nelson, also an attorney, corporate law, but he knows the system. Ethan, listen carefully. Her voice low, controlled. Don't say anything, don't come to the station, don't call anyone. Meet me at the courthouse tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. I'll explain everything then. Trust me. Pause on the other end. He wants to ask questions. She can hear it in his breathing. Are you safe? He finally asks. I will be. I love you. She hangs up, returns to the cell, sits back down on the metal bench. The drunk woman snores. The fluorescent lights buzz. The toilet in the corner drips. Sarah closes her eyes again. Not defeated, not broken. Strategizing, planning, waiting. At his desk, Horton completes his arrest report, types with confidence, feels justified, believes he did his job correctly. He uploads his body cam footage to the server. Notes in the system, video equipment malfunction. Audio only available. The video didn't malfunction. He turned it off deliberately. Standard practice when you don't want everything recorded. But the audio kept running. He doesn't know that. Doesn't check. Assumes it's all dead. It's not. His voice is captured. Every word, every dismissive laugh, every biased assumption. He finishes the report. Logs out. Goes home. Sleeps well. Thinks the case is closed. Thinks he won. Tomorrow will teach him otherwise. The case file sits on his desk. The paperwork is filed. The system has processed another arrest, another black woman, another expensive car, another assumption proven right in his mind. Except this time, he's wrong. Catastrophically wrong. The file will be read, the footage will be reviewed, the truth will surface. But not yet. Not tonight. Tonight, he sleeps. Sarah doesn't. 6 a.m. Sarah is released from holding. A different desk sergeant, day shift, unaware of the context, unaware of everything. Charges pending DA review, he says, monotone, routine. You're free to go. Sign here for your property. She signs, takes her phone, dead battery, takes her purse, her keys, her dignity returning piece by piece. She walks out of the precinct, the morning air cold on her face. She didn't call Ethan back, didn't ask for a ride. She'll drive herself. The Mercedes is still parked in the impound lot behind the building. They processed it but didn't hold it. No actual evidence of theft, because there was no theft. She gets in, starts the engine, notices the scrapes on the door handle, from the handcuffs, from being slammed against the metal, visible damage, permanent reminder. She doesn't react, just notes it. Evidence, physical evidence of excessive force. The drive home is quiet. Interstate 85, same stretch of highway, 30 minutes in early morning traffic. She arrives at her house in Buckhead, colonial style, 2 stories. Ethan's car in the driveway. He didn't sleep either. Waited up all night. He opens the door before she reaches it. Relief flooding his face. Then anger. Then confusion. Allie, what the hell happened? You sounded... Not now, she says. Walks past him into the house. I need to shower. I need to change. Then I'll explain everything. She goes upstairs. Strips off the coat, the blouse, the pants. Everything smells like holding cell. Concrete and despair and institutional cleaning solution. She showers, hot water, as hot as she can stand, washing away the physical residue, the indignity, the violation, but not the anger. That stays, fuels her. She dries off, opens her closet, reaches for her judicial robes, black fabric, heavy, authoritative. She lays them on the bed, looks at them. This is armor. This is power returning. She dresses methodically, each button a reclaiming, each layer a restoration. Ethan waits in the kitchen. Coffee made, 2 cups on the counter. He knows better than to push. She'll talk when she's ready. She comes downstairs, robes folded over her arm. She pours coffee, takes a sip, finally looks at him. Last night, Officer Blake Horton arrested me for driving my own car. He claimed it was stolen. Dispatch confirmed it wasn't. He arrested me anyway, then charged me with impersonating a public official. Ethan's face goes through several expressions. Disbelief, rage, calculation. We sue, he says immediately. Federal civil rights violation. I'll have papers filed by... No. Her voice firm, final, not yet. Ali, they falsely arrested you. That's... I know what it is. She sets down her coffee. But I'm handling this my way. Meet me at the courthouse at 8:45, main courtroom. You'll understand then. He studies her face. Knows that look. Trial face, strategy face. What are you planning? Justice, she says simply. She checks her watch. 7:30 a.m., an hour and 15 minutes until court, until Horton's trial, his excessive force case. The one she's been assigned to for 3 weeks. The one she reviewed yesterday afternoon. The reason she was driving home so late last night. The universe has a sense of irony. She finishes her coffee, gathers her briefcase. The same one Horton rifled through, still containing the same case files, including his. I'll see you at the courthouse, she tells Ethan, kisses his cheek. Trust me. He nods, still confused, but he trusts her, always has. She drives to the courthouse, parks in the judge's reserved section, walks through the side entrance, avoids the main lobby, doesn't want to see anyone yet, doesn't want to explain. She goes directly to her chambers, locks the door, sits at her desk, opens the case file. State of Georgia v. Blake Horton. She's read it 3 times already. Knows it by heart. Excessive force allegations. 17-year-old kid named Jordan Williams. Traffic stop that went wrong. Horton's knee on the kid's back. Disproportionate response. Pattern of behavior. She reads it a 4th time. With new eyes, personal eyes, victim eyes, because now she's not just the judge. She's evidence. She's Exhibit A in a pattern she didn't know she'd become part of. Her phone buzzes. Text from the bailiff. Courtroom ready. Party's arriving. She stands, puts on her robes, checks her reflection in the small mirror on her wall. Composed, professional. No sign of last night's ordeal, but underneath, beneath the robes and the composure and the professional mask, rage, cold, calculating, patient. She's about to walk into that courtroom, about to sit on that bench, about to see the officer who arrested her 10 hours ago, and he has no idea. None. She picks up her gavel, feels the weight of it, the authority, the power. She doesn't call a lawyer to sue. She doesn't need one. She is the law, and in 15 minutes, Officer Blake Horton is going to learn what that means. 48 hours earlier, before any of this started. Before the arrest, before the cascade. Officer Tyler Brooks stands at attention, police academy graduation. His father beside him, first-generation immigrant, came from Ireland 30 years ago with nothing. Built a construction business, put 3 kids through college. His father grips his shoulder, pride in his eyes. But something else, too. Concern, caution. You became an officer so people like us would be safe, yeah? His father's accent still thick after 3 decades. Good. Now be the officer we needed when we first came here. Not the one we feared. Promise me. Tyler promises. Doesn't fully understand the weight of those words yet. He will. Present, 2 a.m. Same night as Sarah's arrest. Tyler sits in the precinct locker room, exhausted but wired. Can't sleep. Can't stop thinking about what he witnessed. He pulls out his personal tablet, opens the file transfer from his patrol car's dashcam system. Department policy allows officers to review footage for report writing. Standard procedure. He watches. The Mercedes pulled over. Spotlight activation. Horton approaching. His body language. Aggressive. Assumption already made before any interaction. Sarah's hands on the steering wheel, visible compliance, textbook, documents presented immediately. No fumbling, no delay, no resistance. Horton barely looks, dismisses them, escalates without cause. Tyler notices something else. Critical detail. Timestamp shows Horton put Sarah in handcuffs before dispatch confirmation came back. Protocol violation. You're supposed to wait for clearance before arrest. He didn't wait. Tyler watches the footage 3 more times. Each viewing confirms what he already knows. This was wrong. Not a mistake. Not a judgment call. Wrong. 7 a.m. Morning briefing. Tyler arrives early. Coffee station in the corner. Officers gathering. Shift change. Day crew replacing night crew. He overhears Horton and Webb. Low voices. Think they're being discreet. They're not. IA might ask questions about last night, Webb says. Casual tone, like she's discussing the weather. Just routine follow-up on arrests. Let them ask. Horton pours creamer into his coffee, stirs. I followed procedure. She matched the profile we've been trained to watch for. Right. Webb nods. Just be specific in your wording when you document. Furtive movements. Suspicious behavior. You know the drill. Tyler freezes, cup halfway to his mouth. He's listening to them coordinate a story, workshop their language, cover their asses. They've done this before. This is practiced, systematic. His father's words echo in his head. Be the officer we needed, not the one we feared. Tyler dumps his coffee, untouched. Walks out of the briefing room. Goes to his patrol car. Sits in the driver's seat. Hands on the steering wheel. Mirroring Sarah's position last night without realizing it. Student loan payment notice on his dashboard, $842 due. His paycheck barely covers it, plus rent, plus his parents' medical bills, his father's back surgery last year, still paying that off. He needs this job, desperately. 8 months in, still probationary. They can fire him without cause, without recourse. But his father's voice won't leave his head. Be the officer we needed. Tyler starts his car. Doesn't go on patrol. Drives to the Internal Affairs office. Different building. 3 miles across town, separate from the main precinct, intentionally isolated, 8:15 a.m. He parks, sits in the car another 10 minutes, debating, calculating, knowing what this might cost. He goes inside. Detective LaToya Riley sits at her desk. 15 years in internal affairs, seen everything, Heard every excuse, every lie, every cover-up. Cynical but fair. Tough but just. She looks up when Tyler enters. Recognizes him. Rookie. 8 months. Practically still a kid. "Officer Brooks," she says. "What can I do for you?" Tyler doesn't sit. Stands in her doorway. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Still deciding. "I witnessed something last night," he says. "Traffic stop. Officer Horton. I think there was misconduct." Riley's expression doesn't change, but her attention sharpens. "You think? Or you know?" "I have dashcam footage. Let me see it." Tyler hesitates. "Can this be anonymous?" Riley leans back in her chair, studies him, sees the fear, the moral struggle, the career calculations. She's seen it before. Officers wanting to do right but terrified of consequences. "I can accept evidence through our anonymous digital Dropbox," she says carefully. "Upload the file. Include timestamp and location. I'll take it from there." Tyler nods, pulls out his tablet, uses the office guest Wi-Fi, uploads the file, types a brief note. "Traffic stop 11 quarters, 23:43 hours, I-85 mile marker 52. Officer Horton. Possible misconduct. My conscience can't let this go." He hits send. The file uploads. Progress bar, 90%. 95, 100, complete. Riley's computer chimes. New file received. She opens it, watches the video. Her jaw tightens progressively as she watches. Professional mask slipping. She pauses when Sarah's face is visible in the spotlight. Zooms in. Recognition flashes across her face. "Officer Brooks." Her voice changed. Sharper. More urgent. "Do you know who this woman is?" "No, ma'am. Should I?" Riley stares at him, calculating, deciding how much to say. "You will," she says finally. "Everyone will, very soon." She stands, walks to her office door, looks down the hallway, makes sure no one is listening. "You did the right thing coming to me. This stays confidential. Go back to work. Act normal. Say nothing to anyone. Understood?" "Yes, ma'am." Brooks. She stops him as he's leaving. "Your conscience did you credit. Don't lose that." Tyler walks out of internal affairs, gets back in his patrol car. His hands shake as he starts the engine. Adrenaline, fear, relief, all mixed together. He did the right thing. It might cost him everything, but he did it. He drives back to the precinct, logs in for his shift, acts normal, like Riley instructed. Goes on patrol, responds to calls, writes tickets, everything routine, but nothing feels routine anymore. Back in her office, Riley locks the door, plays the footage again, watches Sarah's compliance, Horton's aggression, Webb's approval, the whole thing documented in perfect digital clarity. She picks up her phone, direct line to Captain Reed, Webb's supervisor, 1 level up the chain of command. "Captain, it's Riley. We need to talk. Today, before 9 a.m. It's urgent." Pause. She can hear him sipping coffee. Morning routine interrupted. How urgent? Career-ending urgent, and it involves Judge Sarah Nelson. Another pause. Longer this time. "I'll be there in 20 minutes. Riley hangs up, opens her case management software, creates a new file, marks it priority, confidential. She begins documenting timestamps, screenshots, chain of custody for the evidence. She's done this for 15 years, investigated dozens of officers, seen patterns, seen cover-ups, seen the system protect its own, but this one is different. This one has a judge involved, a judge who was arrested hours before presiding over her arresting officer's trial. This one will explode. She makes another call, directly to the police chief, bypassing the chain, warranted by the circumstances. "Chief, it's Riley. You need to be in courtroom 3 this morning at 9 a.m. Don't ask questions, just be there, and bring your phone. You'll want to document this." She hangs up before he can respond. In 3 hours, Horton will walk into that courtroom, confident, prepared, believing he's just defending himself against one excessive force complaint. He has no idea that the walls are already closing in, that internal affairs is activated, that his captain and chief will be in the gallery, that every action from last night is now evidence. He has no idea what's waiting. The footage is already climbing the chain of command. 8:30 a.m., Horton's home. Suburban neighborhood, 3-bedroom ranch. Mortgage stretching his paycheck. He showers, shaves, puts on his dress uniform, the one for court appearances, pressed and clean, shoes polished, everything regulation. His phone buzzes, text from his lawyer. Mark Simmons, criminal defense attorney, handles a lot of police cases, knows the system. Judge hasn't changed. Stick to script. She's known for being fair but thorough. Professional tone only. Horton texts back while knotting his tie. No problem. Had weird stop last night, though. Woman claimed to be a judge. Can you believe it? Tried everything. He checks himself in the mirror. Adjusts his collar. Ready, confident. His phone buzzes again. Simmons responding. What was her name? Horton types one-handed while grabbing his keys. Morrison, I think. No, wait. Oh, Nelson. Sarah Nelson. Whole briefcase full of fake credentials. Impressive, honestly. He hits send, walks to his car. Doesn't see Simmons' response, because Simmons doesn't respond. Just stares at his phone. Sits down hard in his office chair. Closes his eyes. He knows that name. Knows exactly who Sarah Nelson is. Has appeared before her twice in the past year. Professional. Fair, but thorough. Unforgiving of procedural violations. Simmons looks at the case file on his desk. State v. Blake Horton. Trial starting in 30 minutes. Judge Sarah Nelson presiding. His client just arrested his own judge 10 hours before trial. Simmons picks up his phone, thumb hovering over Horton's contact. Should he call? Warn him? Give him time to prepare? He doesn't call. Professional calculation. If he warns Horton now, it might look like obstruction. Better to assess the situation in person, see how bad it really is. He closes his phone, gathers his files, heads to the courthouse. 8:15 a.m., Internal Affairs Office. Riley's email to Captain Reed. Urgent. Need immediate hold on Horton case hearing until I brief you. Evidence of serious misconduct night before trial. Recommend your presence in courtroom. Reed reads it. Checks his watch. Trial in 45 minutes. Calls Riley immediately. How bad are we talking? Career-ending bad. Possibly criminal charges. And Captain Judge Nelson is presiding. She's the victim. Silence on the other end. Reed processes this. The implications, the exposure, the liability. Jesus Christ. Okay, I'll be there. Don't tip him off. Let's see how he handles himself when he figures it out. Already planned on it, Riley says. We need his reaction on record. Consciousness of guilt. Reed hangs up, grabs his jacket, tells his secretary to clear his morning. Emergency. Heads to the courthouse. 8:45 a.m., courthouse main entrance. Horton arrives, parks in the public lot, walks through security. Metal detector, badge, and gun left in his vehicle. Court protocol. He sees other officers in the hallway, colleagues, there for other cases, other hearings. They nod, wish him luck. He's not worried. He has a strong defense. He followed training. The kid in his case was resisting, everything by the book. Simmons arrives 5 minutes later, sees Horton waiting on the bench outside courtroom 3. Walks over, briefcase in hand, face carefully neutral. Blake, he says, that woman you arrested last night. The bailiff opens the courtroom doors. All rise. The Honorable Judge Sarah Nelson presiding. Horton walks through the doors, still talking to Simmons, looking down at his notes, not paying attention. The side door opens, the judge's entrance. 3 steps up to the bench. Horton looks up. Time stops. Recognition hits, not slowly, like a freight train derailing at full speed. Horton's eyes widen, blink, widen again, brain refusing to accept what he's seeing. The color drains from his face, not pale, ashen, gray, lips part. No sound comes out, throat closed. The briefcase slips from his fingers, hits the floor. Loud. The thud echoes through the courtroom. Every head turns, his knees unlock. Liquid joints. Gravity pulls wrong. He sways forward. Right hand shoots out. Slams onto the defense table, gripping the edge. Knuckles white. Holding on like a drowning man. His left hand clutches his chest. Shirt fabric bunched in his fist. Can't breathe. Shallow, rapid gasps. Cold sweat breaks across his forehead. Simmons grabs his elbow. Hard, steadying him physically. Sit down, Simmons hisses. Now. Horton collapses into the chair. Not sitting. Collapsing. The chair scrapes loud against the floor. Everyone watching now, everyone seeing him fall apart. The bailiff steps forward. Older man. Experienced. Seen everything. Sir, are you all right? Do you need medical attention? We can call EMT. Horton shakes his head. Violent. Can't form words. Hand still gripping the table. Room still spinning. Sarah settles into her chair, takes her time, arranges papers on the bench, straightens her nameplate, adjusts her water glass. Every movement deliberate, controlled. She doesn't look at him yet. Power move, making him wait, making him suffer. The gallery whispers. Low murmur spreading like wildfire. What's wrong with that cop? Why does he look like that? Is he sick? In the back row, Captain Reed sits with his phone out, recording. Riley beside him, also recording. Both documenting this moment, this reaction. Evidence for the internal affairs file. Sarah finally looks up. Her eyes lock on Horton. 3 full seconds, unblinking, cold. He can't hold her gaze. Looks down. Papers on the table blur, his hands trembling, visible. "Counsel," Sarah says, glacier voice, formal. "Does your client require medical assistance? We can recess for 10 minutes if needed." Simmons stands, one hand still on Horton's shoulder, literally holding him in the chair. "No, Your Honor, we're ready to proceed." Lie. Complete lie, but tactical. Better than admitting his client is having a breakdown. "Good morning," Sarah says to the full courtroom, official tone. "Case number 2024 CR 8842, State of Georgia versus Blake Horton. Excessive force allegations stemming from an incident on May 14, 2024. Before we begin, I need to make a disclosure to the court." The word disclosure hits Horton like a second punch. His head snaps up. Fresh wave of panic crosses his face, color draining again. Assistant DA Rachel Moore stands, young, prepared, unaware of the context. "Ready, Your Honor." "I said I need to make a disclosure first, Counselor." Sarah's voice cuts, sharp. "Please be seated." Rachel sits, confused. Everyone confused, except Horton and Simmons and Reed and Riley. They know what's coming. Complete silence, pin drop quiet. Every eye on Sarah. Horton's breathing, ragged, audible, almost wheezing. Simmons leans down, whispers in his ear, "Whatever happens next, do not speak. Do you understand me? Not one word." Horton can't respond, can only nod, barely. Sarah's hands rest flat on the bench. Steady, no tremor, complete control. The courtroom waits, breath held, waiting for the bomb to drop. And Sarah takes her time, because she earned this moment. Paid for it in handcuffs and humiliation and a night in a holding cell. Now she owns it, every second, every eye, every outcome. She looks at Horton one more time, sees him falling apart, sees the realization destroying him from the inside. Good, she thinks. Let him feel it. Let him understand what he did, what he's about to lose. Then she begins. "Last night at approximately 11:43 p.m., I was stopped by Officer Blake Horton on Interstate 85 at mile marker 52. I was subsequently arrested on suspicion of operating a stolen vehicle and false impersonation of a public official. I was held in custody until 6 a.m. this morning and released without charges filed." The courtroom erupts, gasps, whispers, shock rippling through every row. Rachel Moore's mouth drops open, literally. She turns to look at Horton, then back at Sarah, connecting dots, calculating implications. Simmons closes his eyes, exhales slowly. He knew it was bad, didn't know it was this bad. Horton stares at the table, can't look up, can't move, frozen. Sarah continues, voice steady, professional, no emotion bleeding through. Georgia Code of Judicial Conduct, Canon 3, requires disclosure of any interaction between a presiding judge and parties appearing before the court that might create an appearance of bias or conflict of interest. I have now made this disclosure fully and completely. Pause. Let it sink in. Let everyone process. I am not recusing myself from this case. Simmons stands immediately. Required. Has to object. Has to try. Your Honor, with all respect, this creates an unavoidable appearance of impropriety. The defendant arrested you 12 hours before trial. This court must recognize... Counselor. Sarah cuts him off, firm but controlled. Your client arrested me unlawfully 10 hours ago based on racial profiling and explicit violation of procedure. If anything, I am predisposed to be more scrupulously fair to ensure this proceeding is unimpeachable on appeal. My ruling today will be based solely and exclusively on evidence presented in this courtroom. Are we clear? Simmons calculates. Knows arguing further damages his client, makes it look like they're afraid of a fair trial. Yes, Your Honor. Good. Then let's proceed with opening statements. Prosecution, you may begin. Sarah picks up her water glass, takes a deliberate sip, hand completely steady, demonstrating control, not vengeance, power, not emotion. She's not here for revenge, she's here for justice. And she's going to deliver it by the book. Every rule, every procedure, every precedent. Which makes it worse for Horton, because he can't claim bias, can't claim unfairness, can't appeal on procedural grounds. She's giving him the fair trial he denied her, and that fairness will make his fall so much harder. Rachel Moore approaches the podium, opens her file, finally understanding what she's about to do. This isn't just one excessive force case anymore. This is pattern evidence. This is everything. Your Honor, the state will demonstrate that on May 14, 2024, Officer Blake Horton used excessive force during a routine traffic stop of 17-year-old Jordan Williams. She plays the body cam footage on the courtroom monitor. Different case, 6 months ago, but the same pattern visible to everyone watching. Aggressive commands, disproportionate physical response. The kid on the ground, Horton's knee on his back. Too much pressure, too long, the kid crying, begging. Not resisting. Jordan Williams takes the stand, 17, still looks 15, scared but honest, credible. "I was reaching for my registration like he asked," Jordan says, voice shaking slightly. "He yanked my door open, pulled me out. I didn't resist, I was terrified." Simmons cross-examines, does his job, tries to create reasonable doubt. "Officer Horton followed training protocols for a subject showing furtive movements and potential resistance, correct?" "I wasn't resisting," Jordan says. Quiet, but firm. "I was shaking because I was scared." Simmons argues that Horton made split-second decisions. Officer safety, standard training, all the usual defenses. Sarah watches, listens, sees the pattern she couldn't see before, because she wasn't part of it yet. Now she is. She leans forward, interrupts the proceedings. Judicial prerogative. "I'd like to examine the defendant's pattern of conduct more thoroughly. Prosecution, are you aware of any similar incidents involving Officer Horton?" Rachel hesitates. "Your Honor, we have documentation of prior complaints, but they were all dismissed by supervisory review before reaching—" "I'm not asking about complaints that were dismissed." Sarah's voice, sharp, precise. "I'm asking about incidents, documented interactions, traffic stops, arrests." Rachel understands. "We can request those records from—" The back courtroom doors open. Detective Riley enters, walks down the center aisle, every eye on her. She carries a sealed folder, approaches the bench. "Detective Riley, Internal Affairs Division," Sarah says. "Please state your purpose." "Your Honor, Internal Affairs received evidence within the last 24 hours of an incident involving Officer Horton that demonstrates a pattern of conduct directly relevant to the charges before this court. I have video evidence, audio recordings, and documentary analysis." Simmons jumps up. "Your Honor, this is highly irregular. We haven't been provided discovery on—" "Counselor, this evidence pertains to an incident that occurred 10 hours ago. There hasn't been time for formal discovery. I'm allowing it under my discretion as directly relevant to pattern evidence. Your objection is noted for the record." Simmons sits. Knows he's trapped. Can't stop this train. Riley approaches the prosecution table. Hands Rachel a USB drive. "Dashcam footage from last night's traffic stop. Timestamp 23:43 hours. The courtroom monitor displays Tyler Brooks's dashcam footage. The Mercedes pulled over. Spotlight. Horton approaching. Riley narrates for the record. Subject vehicle, Mercedes E-Class. Pulled over on Interstate 85. Driver immediately places hands on steering wheel. Visible compliance. The footage continues. Sarah presenting registration. Horton barely looking. Throwing it on the ground. The aggression, the escalation, the gallery gasps. Some recognize the judge, their judge, being arrested, being humiliated. Horton's aggression visible, spinning Sarah around, excessive force on her arm, the handcuffs, too tight, her gasp of pain. Webb arrives, approves, supervises, makes it official. Tyler visible in the background, silent, filming, witnessing. Sarah speaks from the bench, clinical tone, detached, like she's narrating someone else's trauma. "That is me, 10 hours ago. Notice the timestamp. Notice I present registration immediately upon request. Notice the registration is valid, visible in the headlight beam. Notice I make no resistant movements whatsoever." The courtroom erupts, whispers, gasps, people turning to each other. Did they just see what they think they saw? Bailiff calls for order, takes a minute to restore quiet. Horton's face, deep red now, sweating profusely, looking at Simmons with desperate eyes. Simmons won't make eye contact. Can't help him. Nobody can. "Your Honor," Riley continues. "Officer Horton's body cam video malfunctioned during this stop. However, audio recording continued operating. I have that audio." "Play it," Sarah says. The audio feeds through the courtroom speakers. Horton's voice, clear, damning. "People like you always think you can drive cars like this. I know exactly what I'm looking at." Sarah's voice, calm, measured. Officer, this is my vehicle. I'm Judge Sarah Nelson, Fulton County Circuit Court. You can verify? Horton laughing, dismissive, cruel. Sure you are, real creative, and I'm the president. Webb's voice. Process her fully, document everything, by the book. Horton again. She matches the profile perfectly. Expensive car, late night, black woman. We both know how this works. The audio stops. Silence in the courtroom. Deafening. Everyone processing what they just heard. The explicit bias, the racial profiling, the conscious decision to arrest despite evidence. Sarah's voice cuts through the silence. Cold. Controlled fury barely contained. Officer Horton, what profile was I matching? Horton stands shakily, Simmons trying to pull him back down. Your Honor, I didn't know you were... Sit down. Sarah's voice, not loud, but absolute authority, command. Final. You will answer questions when addressed by counsel, not before. Horton collapses back into his chair. Simmons grips his arm, keeping him there. Riley presents a bound report. Thick, official, internal affairs seal. Your Honor, Internal Affairs conducted an emergency analysis overnight. In the past 18 months, Officer Horton has conducted 11 traffic stops fitting an identical pattern. She details it. Coldly, professionally. Each fact a nail. 11 stops, luxury vehicles, Mercedes, BMW, Lexus, Tesla, all drivers black, professional appearance, late evening hours. 8 resulted in arrest on suspicion of vehicle theft or false documentation. All 8 arrests were subsequently dropped. No charges filed. 0 resulted in disciplinary action. Rachel stands, finally seeing the full scope. Your Honor, this establishes a clear, documented pattern of racially motivated misconduct and selective enforcement. Riley continues. Additionally, Officer Horton's personnel file shows 3 formal complaints filed in the past 2 years. Excessive force, racial profiling, falsification of reports. And what happened to those complaints, Detective? Sarah asks. Knows the answer. Wants it on record. All 3 were expunged from his record 2 weeks ago by Lieutenant Greg Dresden without proper review committee process. Violation of department policy. Who authorized those expungements? Lieutenant Dresden, Your Honor. He's currently under investigation for obstruction of internal reviews and supervisory negligence. The gallery erupts again. Reporters scrambling for phones. This is bigger than one case. This is systemic. This is the story. Bailiff struggles to maintain order. Sarah waits, patient, lets the chaos settle naturally, then addresses Horton directly. Officer Horton, you arrested me for false impersonation of a public official. I was driving home from a legal consultation after reviewing case files for court. Do you know which case I was reviewing? Silence. Horton can't speak. Physically unable. Sarah lifts the case file from her bench, holds it up. Everyone can see it. State of Georgia versus Blake Horton. Your case. You arrested the judge presiding over your trial for a crime that didn't exist. Using racial profiling you've practiced systematically for years, with a pattern your department covered up. She sets the file down, looks directly at him. I've heard sufficient evidence. Officer Horton, I find you guilty of excessive force in the case of Jordan Williams. The evidence is overwhelming, and your pattern of conduct demonstrates this was not an isolated incident, but standard practice for you. Horton's head drops to the table. A sob. Audible. Broken. Sarah continues. Relentless. I am also referring your conduct from last night to the District Attorney for Criminal Prosecution under Title 18, U.S. Code, Section 242, Deprivation of Civil Rights under Color of Law, and Georgia Code 16-1023, False Imprisonment by a Law Enforcement Officer. She's not done. Sergeant Linda Webb, you are hereby referred to Internal Affairs for supervisory negligence, enabling misconduct, and failure to intervene. Lieutenant Greg Dresden, you will answer to the District Attorney for obstruction of justice and tampering with official records. Final words. Measured. Powerful. This courtroom operates on evidence, not assumptions. On law, not bias. On justice, not prejudice. Officer Horton, you showed me exactly who you are when you thought no one with power was watching. Today, I'm showing you exactly what justice looks like when the system finally holds its own accountable. The gavel falls. Single crack. Final. Absolute. Outside the courthouse. Media swarm. Cameras. Reporters. Microphones thrust forward. Questions shouted from every direction. Captain Reed stands at a podium. hastily arranged press conference, damage control, but also accountability. Fulton County Police Department takes all allegations of misconduct with utmost seriousness. Officer Blake Horton has been suspended without pay pending criminal investigation. Reporter shouts from the back. Captain, was Judge Nelson targeted because she was presiding over Horton's case? Is this retaliation? We're investigating whether this incident constitutes witness intimidation and obstruction of justice. If so, federal charges will apply. The FBI has been notified. Another reporter. What about the pattern Detective Riley mentioned? 11 incidents? A comprehensive review of all traffic stops conducted by Officer Horton over the past 3 years is underway. Any victims of misconduct are encouraged to contact Internal Affairs directly. Reed fields more questions. Professional, careful, but the damage is done. The department's reputation shattered. Rebuild will take years. Side exit of the courthouse. Tyler Brooks walks to his car, avoiding the media, head down. Officer Brooks. He turns. Sarah Nelson, still in her robes, approaching him. His stomach drops. Your Honor, You were at the scene last night. He nods, can't speak, terrified of what comes next. I'm sorry I didn't speak up then, he says, words tumbling out. I should have stopped it. I just froze. Sarah stops him, hand on his shoulder. But you didn't stay frozen. You gave Internal Affairs the evidence. That took more courage than speaking up in the moment would have. You risked your career, your financial security, everything. Tyler's eyes water. Didn't expect this. Expected anger, blame, termination. My father always told me, he says quietly, be the officer people need, not the one they fear. I couldn't let it go. Your father raised you right. The department needs more officers like you, not fewer. Remember that when this gets harder. Will it get harder? Sarah nods. Yes, your colleagues will resent you. Some will call you things I won't repeat. But you'll sleep at night, and you'll build a career you're proud of. That matters more. Tyler nods, understands, walks to his car, stands a little taller than before. 1 week later, consequences rolling out like dominoes. Officer Blake Horton, fired immediately, arrested, federally charged with civil rights violations under Title 18, Section 242, facing 3 to 10 years, bail set at $50,000. His lawyer argued he's not a flight risk. Prosecutor argued he's a danger to the community. Judge sided with prosecution. He remains in custody, awaiting trial. The irony not lost on anyone. Sergeant Linda Webb. Suspended 30 days without pay, demoted to patrol officer, no supervisory authority, mandatory bias training, 40 hours transferred to different precinct, 18-month probationary status. One more complaint and she's done. Lieutenant Greg Dresden, given early retirement option, quit voluntarily or be fired with cause and lose pension benefits. He chose retirement, but loses supervisory pension enhancement, $800 per month reduction, for life. He's 51. That's $250,000 over 30 years. Expensive choice. FBI opens pattern and practice investigation into Fulton County Police Department traffic enforcement practices. Civil Rights Division involved. Consent decree possible. Department under federal oversight. Reform mandatory. Sarah's office. 2 weeks after the trial, late afternoon. The police chief sits across from her desk. Deputy chief beside him. Both uncomfortable. Both here because they have to be. Judge Nelson, on behalf of the department, I want to personally apologize. Sarah cuts him off. Chief, apologies mean nothing without systemic change. Here's what I need. She slides a typed list across the desk. They read it. The list is long, specific, non-negotiable, mandatory bias training for entire department. Not just remedial, preventive, everyone, no exceptions. Revised stop and search protocols, independent review board, civilian oversight. Body camera policy overhaul. Video must remain on. Malfunctions investigated by third-party auditor, not internal staff. Independent Internal Affairs Oversight Board. 3 civilian members, 2 from community advocacy groups. Voting power equal to police representatives. Quarterly traffic stop data published publicly. Demographic breakdowns. Searchable database. Complete transparency. The chief reads, face tight. Judge, some of these require city council approval. Budget allocation. I can't just then get approval. Get budget, or I refer this entire matter to the Department of Justice for consent decree proceedings. Your choice. The chief pauses, calculating. I'll need 6 months to implement. You have 4. Written progress reports monthly, delivered to my chambers. I'll be monitoring personally. The chief nods. No choice, really. Signs the acknowledgement, leaves. Sarah allows herself a small smile. First time in 2 weeks, courthouse hallway, Sarah walking to her car, end of a long day. Judge Nelson? She turns. Jordan Williams, the teenager from the original excessive force case. Older now somehow, or maybe just less scared. I wanted to thank you, Jordan says. For him, and for me. He holds up a document. You expunged my arrest record. You did nothing wrong, Jordan. The record should reflect that. What are you doing now? Community college, criminal justice major. I want to be a lawyer, maybe a prosecutor. Sarah smiles, genuine warmth. Good. We need people who understand both sides. Keep my card. Call me if you need a recommendation letter. Jordan leaves. Sarah watches him go, hope visible in her expression. This is why she does it. Not for the convictions, not for the power. For the Jordan Williamses, the ones who get second chances, the ones who survive the system and decide to fix it. 3 weeks later, Internal Affairs Office. Detective Riley reviews an application. Officer Tyler Brooks applying for detective position within Internal Affairs. Youngest applicant in department history. She calls him in for interview. Tests him, challenges him, asks hard questions. Why IA? Most officers avoid this division. We're not popular. Because someone has to do it, Tyler says. Simple, direct. And I know what it costs to look away. I won't do that again. Riley smiles. You're hired, probationary detective, 6 months. Don't make me regret this. Tyler nods, serious. I won't. 2 months later, he's handling his own cases, investigating other officers, facing their resentment, their hostility, their silent treatment in the locker room. But his father's voice stays with him. Be the officer we needed. He is, every day, one case at a time. Sarah's home, evening, sitting with Ethan on the couch, glass of wine, quiet moment, first in a month. Are you okay? He asks. Really okay? Not Judge okay. Allie okay. Long pause. She considers the question. Honest answer. I'm tired, bone tired, angry still, but okay. We started something real, systems changing, slowly, but it's moving. Ethan takes her hand. What you did, that wasn't just about you, was it? No? It was about every person who gets pulled over and knows something's wrong but has no power to stop it. I had power. I had to use it. There'll be pushback, appeals, retaliation attempts. I know. But we started something. That's enough for today. Final scene. Sarah's chambers. Late afternoon. Reviewing new case files. Work continues. Justice doesn't stop. Knock on the door. Detective Tyler Brooks, now IA. Delivering a report on another officer, another investigation. Detective Brooks, Sarah says. Congratulations on the promotion. Thank you, Your Honor. He hands her the file. Preliminary report on Officer Jackson you requested. She takes it. How's the work? Finding your footing? It's hard. Some officers won't talk to me, but I'm sleeping at night. Sarah smiles. That's the job. Keep doing it well. Tyler leaves. Sarah returns to her files. The work continues. Will always continue. Justice doesn't sleep, neither does she. The scrapes are still on her car door from the handcuffs. She kept them. Had the dealership leave them untouched. Some reminders are worth keeping.